Yes, yes. What is up, my humans? How are you? Feeling good. Feeling very good. I'm really excited to be back here and, doing more regular YouTube action. Really pumped. We're about to start my new course, The Producer's Path 2.0. Starts in a couple weeks. And if you want to get in on the action, we have an early bird special that ends today. It ends basically when this class ends. And the early bird special, you save $100 and you get the Producer's Path 1.0 for free. So that's a pretty big deal because the 1.0 course, there's a lot of like full-length weekly downloads and stuff in the 1.0 course. And the 2.0 is going to be much more condensed and streamlined and, have like the presentation slides and stuff like I did for Remix Your Life. But it's, if you want the full extra library of the all the weekly downloads that were in the original Producer's Path course, you can get them as a bonus. And you can save $100. But the bonus of getting the Producer's Path 1.0 ends today. So get in there. But we still have a bonus of $100 off until May 1st. May 1st is going to be lesson 0. And then we've got a special event the week after that. And then week 1 starts May 14th. So if you register before May, you save $100. If you register today, you save $100 and you get the Producer's Path 1.0. And I have a pretty cool bonus to reveal that I'm going to reveal later in this broadcast. There's something I worked really hard on. And then at the end, I have something else to reveal that I worked even harder on. So, I'm really excited. This is a big session, a lot of big reveals today. But one of the things that we're going to be revealing, and in fact, I would say the primary thing that we're going to be revealing, is the glory of the music that was submitted for track feedback. There's some really cool music from track feedback. So let's go. I'm going to get my headphones out first so that I don't ruin the broadcast. And then let's check out our first contender. All right, turn my Mars off and then turn the headphones up. Fantastic. Go back to here. Okay, so this is The Weight of Sorrow, Wave by Alenia, who just got a new follower. I like the anime pics. A track I made in a few days for a school project. Camel Crusher, go Burr. We'll make extended version in the future. I like it. This is great. Wow, that was full on. Really, really cool. Let's stop that. That was great, Elfin Elfinia. I was really impressed with that. There's a lot to like about that track. The sequencing is awesome. It's got a lot of personality. It's got a lot of energy, which I like, and a lot of like really cool moments of lower compositional density, you know, where you just have like one or two sounds for a moment. Really cool work. So I have a few notes, and but before I share them, I just want to make sure you know that you're awesome and your track is awesome. Actually, I'm going to break this off so that I can see the YouTube chat. I'll break that off and kind of like leave it, I guess, over on the side there. Boopity boop, boopity boop, 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 skidoo. There we go. Okay, and then if I do, there we go. All right, cool. So, so there's a lot to like about this track, but I think the main things that could be improved would be the vocals are like just not treated yet, you know, especially when you compare them with the treatment and care and attention and everything that has been given to the bass sounds and the instrumental sounds and stuff. The care and treatment that has been given to those has been pretty awesome. But the treatment on the vocals, it kind of feels like, you know, that maybe you're not as confident in the vocals as a sound, so you're not like putting the same kind of time and attention into them and not mixing them as loud as one would typically mix a vocal. So I think you should be confident in your vocals because really, like, you're a great producer. It's clear from the rest of the sounds in your song. And if you approached using your voice with that same kind of confidence and swagger and like, I'm going to shred this and make this really amazing. If you approach it with the same attitude, I know you could do it from hearing what else is going on in your song. Right. So, you should really think about that because, like with any sound in your songs, if you're going to put a sound in your song, you should care about it. You should care about it. Like, it's really important to care that it's there. Even the sounds that are like white noise risers, or maybe you just found some sample and you're not doing anything to that sample. You should still feel like passionate about it to put it into the song. You should still feel passionate about it and excited to share it. So if you're going to do vocals, you should feel excited to share them, and you should feel like, hey, this is a chance to make a meaningful contribution to this song and really make something awesome. So to get vocals, like to find your sound as a vocalist, it's not one of those things that you kind of like come up with beforehand. It's something that you can really only learn by doing. And so many of the things about a vocal are like aesthetic choices that when one person does them, they can be great. And when another person does them, they can suck ass, Like, for example, doing vocals through a guitar pedal, right? I know a lot of people who really like the sound of that. And I've seen some like shitty industrial bands that like you just wish no one told them to do that, So getting a really like clear picture of how you want these vocals to sound, it's going to kind of come out in the doing, and you're going to have to try and see what works for you. Like if I wanted to sing like Whitney Houston, for example, it would probably be pretty challenging. But if I wanted to scream into guitar pedals and chop them up and glitch them out, I could probably make that sound good, right? If you want a kind of big pop sound, a lot of that comes from getting like what I call the 5-finger pan, where you have one loud take down the middle, And then you have two, like the pinky and the thumb, that are all the way left and right, that only appear in each side. And you want those two that only appear on the sides to be really time aligned. Like make sure that the timing on those two and that those two are as similar as possible of all of your takes, because it is very distracting if the two takes at the sides are not very similar. And then the middle ones as loud as possible. And then the half pan ones, those ones you can get a little bit more sloppy, right? Like those are where you put your sloppy ones. You put your best one in the middle, your two best matching ones, hard left and right. And then the half pan ones, and normally the half pans and full pans are like, at least 6 dB quieter than the middle finger, right? But when you build, like you just do the exact same vocal, like 5 different takes and layer them up like that and really try to get the timing and the performance as close to exactly the same as you can with all of those vocals. When you get them sounding really, really similar and you layer them up like that, it has kind of like this effect of smoothing out any imperfections in the vocal. It's like, you know, when you have your one friend who's drunk at karaoke trying to sing a Whitney Houston song, they're going to be probably pretty shit, right? Like you're going to be like, oh, it's a good thing, you know, no one's filming right now or whatever, you know, you're like, But then that same friend, just as drunk, can be singing with like your 20 other drunk friends, and they'll sing like happy birthday to you. And it's like the most beautiful sound in the world. And it sounds perfect, all sloppy, because there's like a big group of them. And, you know, the imperfections kind of average out. And the imperfections just add like detune and chorus and stereo placement and kind of like, you know, they add like richness to the tone. So even if you want to sing like without autotune and stuff, if you do your chorus and do your chorus with the 5-finger pan or more, like I've done choruses where there's fucking 20 takes, like the chorus for Bezos, that song, I got everybody I know to go like, Bezos, Jeff Bezos. And like I got my little 2-year-old daughter to do it. And she was going, Bezos, around the house for like fucking weeks. And it sounds like this super epic choir. I mean, I put some contact instruments in it to get the like, oh, oh, but like the actual syllables of the words Bezos, Jeff Bezos is, you know, I think there's no plugin for that, right? At least, you know, that was out 2 years ago. I mean, there's probably some AI that you can do it with now. But yeah, so if you get like just tons and tons of layers for your choruses, that will make it sound like a pop chorus in whatever style you choose and whatever autotune you choose. And then if you do your like verses, if you do your verse like one loud, you know, distorted vocal where it's like maybe a little bit of like the Ableton amp effect or pedal, or if you just get an actual guitar pedal. But if you get that like mono bite on the verse vocal and then you get lots of layers for the chorus vocal, and with the 5-finger pan, at least 5 fingers, that is a pretty foolproof recipe in any style of music. So I'm not sure, like, you know, whether you want to go like, oh, I'm going to do the auto-tune glitchy hyperpop thing, or maybe you want it to be like really raw and like punk and distorted, or maybe you want them to be all chipmunked, or maybe you want them to be all slowed down and sludgy, or whatever. However you want to do it, having one loud distorted mono vocal for your verses is almost always a good idea. And having a big, thick, like 5-finger or more pan for your choruses is also almost always a good idea. So I think if I would investigate those two things. And then mix wise, I know you said you weren't done this one. So I don't want to comment too much on the mix, but one thing that I am hearing a lot of, and everybody does this, and you'll probably see me give this same feedback again and again and again. There's 5 things that are like defining dimensions in your mix other than volume. Like volume is, of course, the most important dimension, of course, right? But how you determine, because front and back is an illusion. It's not real, right? Left and right is real. Up and down is real. But front and back is an illusion. And you have to use the dimensions that are there to create the illusion of the dimensions that are not there. And the dimensions that are there are the three extremes: extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme sides, and then what I call the two sensitivities, because the human ear attenuates repetitive stimuli. It's like your friend who doesn't know that they stink, and then they come over to your house and you're like, how the fuck can you not know how stinky you are, motherfucker? That person is habituated to their own smell, so they don't notice it, right? There's a point when anything constant, you go numb. It can be a pretty extreme thing. Like I did like an ice bath at my buddy Ionized place. He had like this like industrial like ice bath machine. And the first time I did it, I made it 2 minutes and I thought I was literally going to die. I was like, I'm going to have a heart attack. This is terrible. I'm going to freeze to death. This is super bad. I'm going to die. And then I took a day off and I was like, fuck that. What was I thinking? And then, I started like learning a bit more about it. And I was like, okay, the first time sucks for everybody. Maybe I can like mind over matter this shit and do it again. And the second time I was in there for like half an hour. And it was the first time it was unbearable for 2 minutes. The second time, half an hour, no problem. Right? So anything constant it goes away. So what's the opposite of something that's constant? A sudden change. Anything that is a sudden change is more noticeable because that's like the opposite of habituation. Habituation makes things less noticeable when they're constant. Therefore, sudden change is a dimension of the mix, right? And then the other dimension those sudden changes are like transients, especially transients, very, very noticeable. So you got the three extremes, you got the transients, and then the Fletcher-Munson curve, right, is a curve of equal loudness. So the frequencies on these lines, each line appears at equal loudness as you go across this curve. The dip represents sensitivity, right? Your ears are most sensitive in this area. That's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So it's basically 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. That 2 to 5K zone, right? That zone there, that's where your ears are most sensitive. That I call the pain zone. Now there's another little sensitive area here as you go from, 10K up. You can see that as you go to the very highs, that is also you're extra sensitive as you get to the very, very highs. So that's why I always list like the extreme highs as extreme number one, right? Extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme sides, sudden change, aka transients, and the pain zone. And the idea is to use those 5 dimensions to create the illusion of front and back. And in your song, you've got it very loud, you've got it very bright, etc. But because the high sides especially are like fucking blasting, you can't hear the vocals and you can't hear the dynamics of the song because it's just this like brick up in the high wide and just like everything's so squashed and so loud and shit that it's like you can't make those vocals out. The drums aren't punching through, etc. Like the moments when it breaks down to 1 or 2 sounds, awesome. But a lot of the rest of the mix, it's like you got to carve some space out of the blast, like use some, maybe side chaining if you want that like super aggressive, like dubstep complextro kind of Skrillexy sound. Like, side chaining can be good, or old school Skrillex sound. Side chaining and stuff can be really good for that. But maybe it's just you just level the sounds that are, level the sounds down a bit, and create some scale with some quieter sounds and some negative space, All right, cool. But yeah, really good overall. Really good overall. Okay, Osmosis, you are up next. I thought I heard it. That's a very aggressive high pass, my friend. Okay, very cool. Very cool. So this track is pretty dope. There's a lot of things I like about it. You've definitely got a direction with your style, and there's a lot of sounds that are cool. But there's also some pretty major problems. Like I would not release this one as is, right? The highs, for some reason, as you can see on the stereo spectrum meter, the left, right, up, down, on the left, the little Christmas tree, that basically everything above about 2K is like left only for some mysterious reason. I don't know what effect you've got going or what, but you got to check that out, because that is fucking your mix up. Like, check it out. See? All right. So then the other thing that I am noticing is that you're kind of like, you're going about loudness in a way that is counterproductive, right? Loudness doesn't come from smashing everything into OTT and compressors and shit all the time. And loudness does not come from everything being loud all the time. Loudness comes from gain staging. And here is a video directly below the chat on my one, copy link. Loudness comes from gain staging. And I give this advice so much that I put this video about this right there. But basically, you know, the highest fidelity processing is no processing. Right? The highest fidelity processing is no processing. So you want to get things loud. Well, you got to level them appropriately, and you got to clip off all the micro peaks. Because most of the time when you think you need a compressor, you really just need to remove a peak. You know, there's really just some peak that's fucking your day up. And if you use a clipper on the peaks, like 100% hard digital clipping, the Ableton clipper works phenomenally. If you use it as digital mode, no high quality, which is fucking crazy, but that's the right setting. No high quality mode, digital clip mode, and no soft clipping. It's like the most basic bitch possible setting. But that setting is the same clipping as the famous Ableton Master Bus clipping. And that Ableton Master Bus clipping, I use that as mastering a lot. Like, I'll just redline the master, solve all my problems in the mix. And when you work that way, not only is it nice to not need mastering, but it also, like, you know, your goal in working that way is like, you want to get things loud and clear and high fidelity, and like it's all the sounds as separate as possible, the stereo image as big as possible, the highs nice and clean, lots of brightness, the transients sharp, the stereo image and the extrusion of all the sounds isn't fucked up. And like, as soon as you start using EQ on your master, you're in trouble. You know, you shouldn't be trying to solve shit with mastering. Mastering's just for loudness. So stop putting compressors on everything all the time. Use M Wave Shaper or saturators. That gives you a much more high fidelity result. And check out the videos on the Producer Dojo channel about M Wave Shaper will really help. There's especially the mixing class, like the 80/20 of mixing. A lot of the stuff is in there. Check that out. But you've got to kind of learn to mix without fucking your sounds up, because I get the vibe that you're like listening to your sounds and you're like, that's not enough. I need something more. What plugin do I use? What EQ do I use? What compressor do I use? And like, those are not the right questions to ask. Right? Usually the sense of scale and loudness and thickness that you're after comes from openness of the stereo image, which is usually from not processing shit much, from sharpness of the transients, which is usually from not like as soon as transients rely on a vertical wave edge, and as soon as you rotate the phase of that with like as soon as you rotate the phase of any of the frequencies using EQ, that vertical wave edge goes away. And then you don't have the dry feeling anymore, right? So not every sound in the song has to be dry. Some sounds should be very wet and very far away to create the contrast and the sense of scale for the dry sounds to pop. Usually I only have one sound, the kick and the snare, trying to sound dry at any time. But for them to sound dry, gotta not put lots of shit on things. So start working about, yeah, that's right, Cynthia. Yeah, talking about the Ableton saturated and digital clip mode, high quality off. Hey, what up, Jazz? Hey, Godface, been a minute, dog. Yeah, I saw you getting up in the new website. Yeah. Yeah, once again, theproducerspath.com. Going to be doing live classes every week for a small group of humans. And we're going to be learning all the things doing my new 12-level program, The Producer's Path, which is designed for producers of all skill levels, but is the only course that I have that if you've not finished a song before, that's like you have to do that before you do anything. This is like how to finish one song that you're really proud of. And to be able to do that, there's like a bunch of artistic development stuff that you got to do, because you got to find out who you are musically. You got to find out what your soul sounds like, you know? But yeah, so all this stuff's in there too. But on check out on YouTube, check out the 80/20 of mixing on the Producer Dojo YouTube. Track feedback. No, you can do, I think Katie might have a track feedback link. I'm trying to do these more regularly, but it's got to be people in advance, and I got to like cap it at 15, because any more than that, and it's like fucking 5 hours of track feedback. So yeah, you got to do it in advance. But well, we'll be doing it again soon. All right, so we got Rhubarb up next. But yeah, watch those videos, get your leveling right. Here we go.
Let's call him out. Let's call him out. Let's call him out. Good. I got the bag of the juice. I got the bag in the cool. I got the patty on woo. I got the stash in the boob, and I'm thumbing, I'm burning her too. I got a drum in the suit. I got the 100 on you. I got them ready to shoot. I got them ready. I'm thugging, I'm ready to hoop. I'm ready to hoop. Call him out. I'm ready to hoop. Ready up. I'm ready to hoop. Ooh, okay. Let's call him out. 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 Let's call him out.
Pretty good. Okay, so you're having this problem before, and I wasn't sure if it was just going to be for that section, but now that I've heard it in the drop, I'm going to stop and just draw your attention to it so you can hear it. So there's basically like two kinds of dance moves that people do, like two main sorts of categories. And they're like horizontal dance moves, like when you're like listening to Fish or like, you know, swimming in house music or like whatever, you know, you're like, it's like a soup of all these layers, you know. Usually you'll do that to what compositions that I call the layer cake, where it's like all the sounds are playing at once and everything is steady. Horizontal, like looking at a stack of pancakes, right? And when the music is like a stack of pancakes, you move side to side, right? But when you want people to really dance like hard, like if you're making drop music, it's all in the name, drop. It's a vertical motion, you know, and you want like heavy blows punctuated by silence. And when you have a constant sound like the drones that you have in your intro and in this section, they take away the energy from all of the loud, punchy sounds. And it doesn't matter how loud you mix those loud, punchy sounds. If there's this like constant tone over top of them, you're doing the layer cake dance and you're not doing the headbang dance. And if you want to get people to do the headbang dance, you need heavy blows punctuated by silence, like wind up, throw a haymaker. Wind up, throw a haymaker, you know? So, yeah, so just be aware of like vertical and horizontal in your composition. And that's why like people love side chains so much. It can create that big punchy gap and the impact for your kicks and snares. And that's also why a lot of the best dance music drops are really, really simple and have lots of negative space in them. And like if you look at the waveforms and even like the LUFS or RMS or whatever on a lot of big, like super heavy bass EDM tracks, a lot of the time, if you look at like how much volume is actually in the drop versus the breakdown, often the breakdown will be louder than the drop because it's like constant and filled in and, you know, like constant and filled in and like always present. Right. So the, you know, like a lot of like, drum and bass drops are like that. Like if you listen to like, you know, like, Mefuse or Camo and Crooked or whatever, a lot of the time their breakdowns are louder than drops. There's like more actual volume, but because of the way it's composed and because of the way the silence is used, the drop feels way harder and way louder and way heavier, even though there's less actual volume there because of all the silence that they've used to make it drop. Okay? So I want you to listen to that. Listen for that now.
Let's call him out. Let's call him out.
No, the good way to wind up is to fucking have shit like I'm talking about winding up like winding up to throw a punch. I'm not talking about a riser. You know, risers are cool and it's nice to have like a big like some people will call like a long build up a wind up because it's like you're winding up the dancers like a fucking, you know, wind up toy and making them march around like all crazy, right? But the thing that makes the drops heavy is the silence and the negative space and just not having all the parts be all filled in and not having, you know, any part be totally filled in on the drop unless it's like, you know, maybe a white noise downlifter really quiet that's going like like a gas release so that it like feels like energy. But yeah, you don't want to have like big, loud, heavy mid bass that is constant, which is what you have in your drop. Yeah, I mean, I would play the rest out, but we have 15 people to do, so I got to get through it because we're only at 3 and it's been 45 minutes. What am I doing? But yeah, really good. Otherwise, like great sounds and invalid dynamic link. Cottonmouth Killer. If you're in the chat and you have an updated link, that one ain't working, baby. All right, we got Gateless. I don't know if I can give you feedback because if I give you feedback, you won't be Gateless anymore. But maybe you could just take none of my feedback. Just be like, your feedback sucks. I'm going Gateless. This is very, very the background sounds like the white noise and stuff are way louder louder than those tinkle noises, and like they're just dominating the hell out of them. So you can't really hear the tinkling noises as much as I would like. And there's like a lot of like really kind of omnipresent low mids in those background noise samples. So I would probably level those differently. Oh yeah, Cynthia in the house, big up. Whoa, whoa, gain staging. Whoa, gain staging. Watch the 80/20 mixing and the gain staging video. You got to get in there. You got to get in there. This is gain staging is anarchy. Great fidelity on the sounds though. I think your kick is like the big MIDI kick is late versus the kick in that loop that you're using, and it's kind of making it obvious that they're two different kicks and they're not really like working together. So just be aware of that. And this shit. Whoa. Sidechain those reverbs too. Yeah, the pocket. You gotta work on your pocket with the off-kilter stuff, because it's not that's not landing really as much as it could. Like really off-kilter, I love off-kilter. I love things that are off the grid. But because you've got such a strong on-grid flavor happening with the like glitchy, melodic, tinkly stuff, and the drum loops that you've used are all quantized, having the unquantized stuff on top of it just makes it feel like off in a way that's like not, this doesn't sound intentional. Like when things are off and it's like on purpose and like sounding and like, fuck you, yeah, do what I want, off the grid, it's great. But the way things are structured compositionally, it does not feel like it almost feels like it's like not intentional, you know? But the actual drum sounds are fantastic. They're really nice and dry and like fidelity and pretty loud, and like they still have their transients, and you've got lots of really nice highs happening. Yeah, I think what I was saying about the vertical and horizontal really applies here too. You've got like these really constant, like omnipresent sort of like tinkly ARP glitch noises, and even though they're being kind of pushed out of the way by the side chain, it's kind of like it kind of feels like everything's all filled in still, you know, and it feels kind of like it's hard for the drums to really, like, they're loud and they hit, but the groove isn't hitting, you know, like the drums are loud, and the subs are loud, but the pocket's not there, and a lot of it is coming from just that like constant glitchy twinkle noise. And like, to be honest, I think that arpeggiator kind of glitchy twinkle thing would be way better if it was used like just for a fill, or for like, like maybe a short build up, and then like it comes in like reversed for half a bar in some spot, and then it's just gone and stuff. Having it be like really constant, it's kind of like you're wearing it out a bit. Like maybe if it changed more from section to section, you had it like slow and time stretched in one section, backwards in another section, just like a repeating eighth note in another section, then we wouldn't get tired of it. But even though it's constantly changing and chaotic and stuff, like the way it's used is the same throughout. So even though like it might not be exactly repetitive because of all the like glitchy, crazy stuff that's happening, it doesn't really like feel very different in the different spots that it's in. Like it still feels like a very constant presence. And I think if you have like, you have like your melody like start not glitchy with just like one or two notes, like all maybe run through pulse stretch or something else to make it like all time stretchy, and then it kind of like coalesces into the clean, not glitchy version of the melody. And then as that progresses, you could perhaps make like a fugue where you have like another slower version of the melody playing with a faster version of the melody, or like two versions of the melody that are looping where one of the loops is slightly shorter than the other and they're like drifting out of phase. Or, maybe you program a fader where the probability of the glitches is at 0 at the bottom of the fader, and the probability of the glitches is at 100% at the top of the fader. And then in the buildup, you slowly ramp that fader up. Or maybe you could have a bit reduction effect that is like a slow bit reduction after a high pass that slowly scoops up as you go into the next section. Just something to give it some narrative, It feels like just really constant, and it feels like somebody like, it's like someone coming up to you and juggling at a party when you're like trying to talk to somebody, you're like, I didn't, nobody asked for this right now, It's just kind of like, it's cool if that happens in a moment here and there as a flourish, but like you've got to like pull us in before you flex on us like that. Like if you're going to flex on us, like show us what not flexing is, and then show us what flexing is, and have them contrast with each other. So you're like, oh, I thought this was cool before, but now we're at this crazy other level. What a flex. Whereas if it's just like, check it out, 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 like the whole time, it's too much, and it's not serving you compositionally. You're also, you got a lot of reverb tails that are kind of getting in the way of they're getting in the way of the heaviness of it, because there's like, but it's not like it just feels like reverb's blasting into OTT. Experimenting with some master bus processing could be good too. Like if you had some glitch racks on your master where like maybe the whole master goes left, right, left, right, left, right really fast, or like, you have like a scoop up and then open, shit like that on the master, like different effects you can do, because everything is very constant. Even though it's changing, it is all very constant. But yeah, pretty cool. Like you got a lot of really good sound design in there, and like you certainly know your way around like glitch plugins and stuff. It's really just getting them into a kind of like narrative structure, and like getting it to make sense compositionally. But yeah, it's definitely fresh. And there's a lot of really cool stuff about this that I like, it's my job today to give you the feedback that your friends will not give you. So, like, and it's like if someone's asked me and they're my friend and they're over at my house and they're like, what do you think of my music, Dylan? I'm like, it's fucking great. You're a genius. Someday the world will recognize, because that's the correct response when you're someone's friend, right? But having, getting like raw, unfiltered feedback from someone who's gonna like notice the shit that you need to hear and tell you. So yeah, so I know I had a lot of feedback for you today that were like a lot of notes, but please know that there is a lot about your music that is cool, and I think you've got a good graphic design thing going on. Like it seems like you have a clear idea of what you want your aesthetic to be like and stuff. And I think if you keep at it, you'll be fucking killing it. You'll be killing it. All right. So you've got Asura, right? Yes, Asura. Your vocals are getting super like boxed in by all of the processing that's happening to them. I think there's like some EQ or some multiband or something in them that's like making them feel not open. So be aware of that. You may want to dial some of that processing back. Because you want like the definition and the layeriness and the creaminess and the processed feeling, but it's just that like the way the dynamics are, it feels like stressed out or like maybe it's been warped one too many times or something. If you see her out, you shouldn't follow her footsteps. You may take her hand, but you'll never find freedom. Hi-hats, oh my god, hi-hats and drum tails. So many loud, bright, transient-y hi-hats and so many long drum tails making everything muddy. Cut those drum tails off, especially in the low end. Cut them short. Your main kick and snare, you want them to be usually about a 16th note long of loud and then basically gone. And if there's anything left, you want it to be like mids and highs and not too much in the lows. And then those really dry, really transienty, really loud, really like right off the shelf hi-hats are not doing you any favors. Take the transients off of those drums, especially the hi-hats. Level the hi-hats down a lot and, make them a bit more gungy and imperfect, and they'll fit into the mix a lot better. Yeah, because they're so dry, I'm hearing those hi-hats in front of the vocal substantially. You should also try putting OTT with everything deactivated except for the sub on your master. I'll just show you that now. You can do it with Ableton, or you can do it with the Xfer OTT. But here, let's see. I'll just type in pre-master and see if I can find something that won't get me in copyright trouble on YouTube today. That's a great thing about doing track feedback is like, because the tracks aren't copyright yet, I won't get in trouble for this. Okay, here, I'll do my track animal. Okay, whoa there. Okay, actually here, I'll do this one. Or no, here, I'll do this one, this bulk and bump pre-master. This is a pre-master for my remix of bulk and bump. And I'm going to go get the Xfer OTT and show you the Easter egg mode. And Xfer OTT is so cool. All right, so here, how would you turn off this and this? You can't, right? Well, wrong. If you go into the Ableton plugin interface, you get clean crossover mode, which makes the crossover sound a lot better. And then you can bypass the compression in the mids and the highs. And if you bypass the mids and the highs and you put on clean crossover mode, you get sub only on the bottom, and it sounds real beefy. So here, let's go here to my build up and drop. Now let's listen to it with the sub OTT on. Oh, wait, hang on, I gotta level this better. Look at that. Pinned. Right? Like, look at that difference. Right here, I think I'm gonna take the output gain down a little so it's level matched. But yeah, so the upward is pulling the sub up, and then the downward is like pushing the sub down. So if you want the sub to be peaky, you can do that. Yeah, a lot of plugins have hidden parameters. Look in there for hidden parameters. You'll find lots of shit. You can't change the cutoff points. So that's one of the advantages that the Ableton OTT has. And you can do the same thing with the Ableton OTT. So I will go and get the Ableton OTT. And how you do that with the Ableton OTT is you kill that so that you just have two bands now, and then you kill that so you don't do any compression there, and now you have just a single band, and then you can go like this. See, whoa. Yeah, but yeah, that allows you to really blast the sub and the kick. And then the Ableton one, you can change the cutoff if you want. I normally leave it like around like 75 to 100. And then another useful thing in Ableton is doing single band OTT. And that looks like this, and that's where you turn off the highs and lows and you just have mids, and then you get one big band of OTT, and then that does like the volume of your whole channel. And then you don't have EQ crossovers, so it doesn't fuck the phase up and ruin all your transients and all that. But yeah, so I'd say, experiment with that on your bass, and then just make sure you turn it off in the breakdowns and spots where there's no bass, or else it'll make everything rumble. But yeah, pretty cool. Okay. Oh, Synthient. Here we go.
I'm walking in the air. I'm floating in a magic sky. The people far below, they greet us as we fly. I'm holding very tight. I'm floating in a midnight blue. I'm finding I can fly so high above with you.
I think you want to get a little soothe or something on that vocal. I'm hearing some like digital artifacts. Like maybe if you could, I don't know if you can find like actual like wave of the raw vocal for it, but I'm hearing like some digital artifacts, like it sounds almost like a sample rate reduction or something, and you can see it on the meters. There's like this kind of ringing happening up in the very, very highs. You may be able to like low pass that out and then rebuild the highs with like a guitar amp or some other kind of saturation process, but really lovely so far though, and the richness of those chords is great. But here I'm going to back it up, and then I want you to listen to the air, and you'll kind of hear what I'm talking about. It's like this kind of weird digital ringing texture that sounds like it was like maybe the vocal was from an MP3 or something, but I don't know. Yeah, see there? Oh, yeah. Amazing.
I'm like flashback. I'm like I'm like flashback. Before you got mad, then he didn't crack that. In and out of Dolo when the new mass. To the boys were on him when he crashed that. Till they came back, man, I don't back like. Heads off, yeah, all of that one pack. I could be anywhere, feeling alright. Till the game on the head is so mad act. I'm like I'm like I'm like
Damn! What a gem of a tune. Fucking nailed it. Really good. Really good. Okay, so other than the vocal having that weird texture issue, the only other thing that I can think of that's like obvious to me is that that there is a lot of sides that are getting on top of your drums. And I want to introduce you to a little technique that I call the mid side chain. So let's get a cuck drum. Oh, use Mr. Bill's cucks. He's quite the cuck. Actually, we got a fucking remix on the go with him that we're gonna do tomorrow and Friday, so that's exciting and fun. And then yeah, Shambhala. I booked him for Shambhala because nobody there. I've been asking them to book him for years, and I finally got some authority. So I was like, book Mr. Bill right now. All right, so let's get a bass line. Baseline. Try to find a really stereo-y one. Yeah, it's got some real stereo to it. Think Twice is so fucking sick. I'm such a fan. Okay, so we've got this really stereo bass line, and we've got our cuck. What BPM is this? 140. Okay, so let's go DigiClip. Actually, you know what? I'll make the DigiClip for you so that those of you who are asking about the DigiClip can know how to do it. So I learned from Ableton support and I didn't believe it. And then I learned it from Mr. Bill and I did the null test for myself. And it is correct that the exact same clipping as the Ableton Master Bus clipping is the saturator not on high quality mode and soft clip off. Everything else default except digital clip mode. That's it. That's it. That's the whole preset. It's amazing. And it's the exact same clipping. It nulls with the Ableton Master Bus clipping. So I'm now going to turn this up until I clip it. But you can see how even though this is pretty loud, it's like getting just eaten, right? So one thing we could do is we could put a sidechain type thing on here. So I'm going to just use LFO tool because lots of people have LFO tool and they know what that's like. You want to put that, oops, not on that. I want to put it on the bass line. And I'm going to put these on quarters and put a little dippity doodah. So it's like this. If this is a quarter note, then that is a 16th note. And you're probably going to want that to be like pretty, you know, pretty off for that 16th note. Right? So a lot of the time people are like, oh, that's too much. I need something on the kick. Or I need, like, it can't be totally missing there. You know, like you want the sub missing for the sub to hit, but, right? So what a lot of people will do is they will activate this split, which makes it split at 632. And the side chain only happens to the lower half of the split when it's on low pass mode or the upper half above the split if it's on high pass mode. Right? So that's pretty good, but there's still this wide high shit happening that is a bit of a problem. So if you actually know, I'll make a mid-side split from scratch for those of you who don't know how to do this. So I'm going to put a utility and I'm going to right click on the width and go to mid-side mode. And then I'm going to put them all in a group. And then I'm going to put two. And one of them is going to be the mid. And the other one is going to be the side. And because they're on mid-side mode, you can just crank them. And this is going to be, here, this mid-side split. This will be exactly the fucking same as if you didn't do it. See? So I'm going to group it and I'm going to null it with it. So I'm going to take this mid-side split version and then I'm just going to flip the phase of left and right. And then these should sum to nothing. See? No more bass. Even though both of those meters are up, because they're the exact opposite waves, because I flipped the phase, we know for the fucking fact, a non-alternative fact, that those are exactly the same because they sum exactly. There's nothing, right? So now that we know we have an exactly clean mid-side split, what I want to do is, that's what we're going to do. We are going to sidechain just the sides with another sidechain. And I'm going to not put the split. And I'm going to go like that and make a slightly longer sidechain on the sides. And now, watch. So the kick it's collapsing the width for the kicks too. It's not just ducking the sub, it's also collapsing the width. So like here, I'll put the smooth on a little bit on these two so that they're a little less clicky. And then here, when you watch on the meters, you'll see that going mono, wide, mono, wide, mono, wide. See? And when you do that on things that are wide, it will stop them from dominating your mono drums in those mono moments. Because remember, 5 dimensions other than volume. There's the three extremes: extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme sides. Those are very noticeable. They are the frame of your picture. And then, because of the neurological phenomenon of habituation, anything constant seems less loud than it is. And anything that is a sudden change seems more noticeable than it is. The most noticeable of all being transients. And then the other sensitivity is at the bottom of the Fletcher-Munson curve. Your ear is the most sensitive between the frequencies of 2 to 5K. You're also extra sensitive at the top from the Fletcher-Munson curve. But when you have width in that pain zone, that is really dominating. You can have a super fucking mono sound that's like really loud, really distorted, etc. But if there's another sound that has sides and the mono sound does not have sides, even if the sound that has sides is quieter, it's still going to be more noticeable because it has sides and it has especially wide highs. Wide highs are like the fucking devil when you're mixing. Wide highs are the devil. You do not want wide highs on anything that is not trying to be the focus. So now let's turn this mid-side side chain off and then we will turn it on. Right? That kick sounds way louder, and way more full when you do a mid-side side chain. And you often have to do the mid-side chain on tracks that have a lot of really cool width and sound design and shit. And your track certainly does have a lot of cool width and sound design. So check it out. And now listen to it and you'll hear what I'm talking about with the wide pain zone, especially. Even though, like, you know, there's sub-side chaining and stuff, there's all that width in the fucking pain zone that is kind of dominating your drums. Like, it's just eating your drums. So, mid-side chain. Do the mid-side chain. All right, Fritz! You are up, Fritz! But yeah, really great work, Cynthia. See, now you see why I was so excited when Cynthia got here? Oh shit, we getting tropical. I better smoke some weed. Yeah, the mid-side chain, a lot of the time you want a longer side chain for the side, but not always. Just doing some mid-side side chaining. Oh, also that mid-side chain, the side-only side chain was full frequency, and then the sub-only side chain was full width. So everything got the sub-side chain, and then the side chain gets all of the frequencies. Yeah, I probably could have made that more clear. But watch the video again. I don't know. Okay, here we go. I want those leads to be louder relative to the noise sounds. Because like noise sounds are very noticeable because they're super bright and they have lots of sides usually, especially if you're using vinyl crackle is like extremely wide in the stereo image. So just, yeah, you want to kind of like level things up a bit versus the noise. And usually your noise, anything that's supposed to be like a ninja sound, like doing its job without distracting you, all the ninja sounds got to be like quiet, usually really quiet. Yeah, like that. That's way louder than the lead. This is really lovely. This part's a bit weird. Yeah, because those volume gates were very like hand on a mixer fader, which is a super dry sounding sound. You know, it sounds really up close when someone's like pumping the volume gate, and it's kind of making the depth feel weird there. So I would probably like not do that. Or if you do that, have more kind of constant filled in sounds in the background. Whoa, that sound is a lot. It's cool though, but holy, yeah, because wide, dry, transients. You're ticking all the boxes with that like sound effect sound. So that's like really standing out, you know? And yeah, so just be aware. I remember what I was saying about vertical and horizontal. Like this track is definitely getting like that sound effect with the wide, dry, high transients. Oh man, 3 out of the 5. That sound effect, because it's like more stereo than everything. It's more dry than everything. It's more transienty than everything. It makes everything else feel small. So it's undermining your drop. Like if you skip that sound on the drop and then have it come in like maybe 4 bars after the very drop, then it'll work. But having it right over the drop is undermining your drop. And that kind of shit too, especially when you've been working on a long session, the ear fatigue will set in, and you're kind of like, you just, anything that sounds more is better. And like, especially if you add a sound like that, like right at the end, you're like, oh yeah, that sounds fucking great. Because your ears are starved because you've heard the same thing for so long. And then you're like, crank it. Sounds amazing. Then you come back the next day and you're like, what the fuck? You know? I always do that with those types of sounds. I always do that. It's a really cool sound though. I like the sound design on it a lot. But yeah, just listen to how it's, it's overwhelming the drop. Like your plinky plonk leads, they're like getting dwarfed by that. You want those plinky plonk leads to be really 3D. All right, so I think I know what I would say for your feedback, and that is that you need to listen to more Jay Dilla, my friend. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this Stolper Beats module that I've been lusting after because they have this demo. It's basically a Jay Dilla like module for getting all the transients like not on top of each other. I'll see if I can. Yeah, I think it might be this one. Yeah, I think maybe the Div Kid one is the one to check out. Div Kid is so sick. I love how this guy's name is Synth Dad. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. I'm like, come on, your name is not Synth Dad. That's so fucking funny. But so what Stolper Beats does is it takes rhythms that are on the grid and then it breaks up the grid or breaks up the way the rhythm hits. And the Dilla mode in Stolper Beats is offsetting the hi-hats and the snares and the kicks so that none of that shit happens at the same time. And I want you to hear what that does when you go from having all the transients lined up to having all the transients not lined up. That's, I think, the Dilla one. Linear beats. Yeah, I think the Dilla mode is here. Okay, here, we'll watch it.
So here you can hear a very simple, straight beat. I'm in the Dilla mode. As I come down, we get increasingly varied shuffles based on different divisions of a musical clock, quintuplet shuffles and all sorts of other things. And you can hear straight away that we're into this kind of tripping, stumbling beat. If I change from Dilla to, say, the shake, that's much more like a conventional shuffle. If I straighten that up, and then I'll increase the shuffle, that's like shuffling an old MPC or shuffling a DAW. Push, and you can see which beats in this musical bar these are based on. Let's go to clave. Again, drunk, stumbling, shuffling, grooving, differently to the other modes there. As well as muting on the buttons, we can toggle the mutes on and off and toggle the linear on and off here as well. And linear is an addition to a drum sequence.
But yeah, so you hear how that is opening things up, right? If you listen to like a lot of like Nigerian music, for example, like there's this producer like London from Nigeria. Oh, this is gonna fuck this broadcast. I mean, I kind of already did it by playing that. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to suck it up with the London, and he's in Nigeria. He produces like all the London, Nigeria music producer. Yeah, London. It's hard to Google him, but yeah, Michael London Hunter. This is London. This dude makes all the huge hits, and his shit is so sick. Yeah, he produced Rima. He produced the Iris Star album. He produced a lot of Iris Star. But yeah, lots of fucking really sick music. But he makes a lot of music with like the sorts of like plinky plonky kind of like attack heavy pluck synth noises, and he's really, really good. Like, check out his music and listen carefully for like the micro timing and like how often the plucks will be ahead of the beats in time to make them stand out more, so that they're not just getting like stomped on by the kicks and snares and stuff. But yeah, definitely check out like Iris Star is so fucking good, and WizKid, Rima, like a lot. Nigeria's on fire right now. Like the best fucking music is coming out of Nigeria. All right, let's go to Frogor. Frogor, you are up next. But yeah, really great track overall. Just yeah, you know what to do now. All right, you got a new follower, Frogor. I like your frog on the brain. I'm already down. Like, this is fantastic. Fantastic. This shit is ripping loud, homie. Oh my gosh.
Shuriken.
Dude, I love this shit. This is great. Yeah.
Mizu Shuriken.
I fucking love this. This is great. Wow. You sound like you're from Japan. It reminds me a lot of like Alan Mock and like Herbalistic and all that shit. Very fucking cool. Okay, so the loudness is really awesome, but when you get shit that loud, you often need to kind of like be like level some of the highs down on some of the sounds. Like a lot of the sounds are really, really dry and bright, and they don't really need to be because you have that shit is so loud. Like it's awesome. So I'm not saying don't have any sounds dry and bright, but I'm saying like a lot of your background sounds and stuff are kind of like piling up in the highs, and it's making it fatiguing. And if you want to hit that level of loudness, which I totally think you should, without it being fatiguing, I would recommend like making some of the sounds like shorter in the highs, like your hi-hats. If you kind of make them have more of a transient and like a little bit less of a kind of flat clipped tail, you know, so they're like more dynamic and more short. That will enable you to have more sounds up there and still have those transients be really present, because I think that like the loud hi-hats is totally part of the style of this. And then some of your other sounds, like your kind of constant noises in the highs, like you may want to like let's say I'm doing a rap record, right? One of my favorite tricks on a rap record is get the nicest low pass you can get your hands on and take the whole beat and just low pass it a fucking little at like 10, 11K, you know? Like you barely hear it. Nobody will ever think that's been low passed. Like the tiniest bit off the highs of the whole beat, and then have only the sound that you want to be in front, usually the vocal, have the highs go all the way up. So I would say if you did that with your lead sounds, they would probably cut more of a three-dimensional kind of more of a three-dimensional feeling versus the background, because everything is so loud. The loud sounds in the background are kind of like smushing up against the glass up at the top, you know, like the metaphorical glass window, like smushing your face in a window. I feel like, you know, when things are really pushed, they're kind of like pressed against the glass. And the background highs don't need to be pressed against the glass. Like if you're going to press the front against the glass, you need extra depth versus the background so that you can be pressed against the glass, but still be 3D. You know what I'm saying? So backing the highs off of some of the sounds and making the highs like a little bit more short and stuff is probably going to help. There's a couple spots where like you're kind of relying on a pretty similar texture for most of like, blah, you know, those noises. Like it's got this cool like froggy croak texture that is cool. And I know that's your brand and everything, but I'm imagining a fucking 2-hour set of that noise. And I'm like, damn, homeboy's got to get some other frog noises, some other still frog themed, but like other froggy noises. And one frog noise that I would recommend, I'll show you how to make now. And it's pretty fun and pretty easy. And I think I could see you using this, right? Because frogs, they croak. But frogs, they are also slippery. So I think if you have like a slippery version of the frog sound, I think that could be pretty cool. And let's see, let's get yeah, let's just use Mr. Bill ones. That was him. I would not text in a broadcast at all, but he's texting about our session tomorrow. So I had to hand him back. And it's like, it's Mr. Bill, you know? I'll break the rules a little. All right. let's get some of these. Oh wait, that's a break beat. This is gonna be. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to make L dubstep beat. Okay, white people count to 2. That's what I think when I boom, bap, boom. People are like graduating from house music. Like, okay, we counted to 1. Let's count to 2 now. Boom, bap, boom. Oh, you remember that song where it's like, it's like kick, snare, kick. It's unbelievable. I'm like, this is maybe the most believable drum pattern I know. I don't know how unbelievable this. It's like kick, snare, kick. Like to just have a vocal pointing that out was so hilarious. Dude, English people, their fucking lyrics are so like dry, but so funny sometimes. Bassline in your nostril. I'm a rude boy. You're a penis. Like, who says that shit? All right. Okay, so I'm going to get operator out now, and we're going to do a little thing that every producer should do. That is push the harmonic series into a clipper. All right. Boopity boop. Okay, so we have a clipper. I'm going to put this on just analog clip. And now I am going to turn this onto the mode where it turns into a subtractive synth. So you may ask, why would you want to use operator as a subtractive synth? Operator is an FM synth. These are not oscillators, my friend. They are operators ready to perform mathematical magic on your ears. And the reason why you would use operator as a subtractive synth, there's a few reasons, but one of them is because the coarse knob is not semitones and it's not octaves. It's something far cooler than that. And that is the harmonic series. So let's get out our friend, the Spectrum. And I'm going to put this on semitones, and I'm going to turn this down. Yeah, so Spectrum has this cool semitones mode that's like pretty useful, right? So see, I can see that's a C, I can see that's a C. So watch, I'm going to turn this up. And now I'm going to move it up. So you can see, look, they aren't octaves. Like we got C, we got like, what is that? That's 5th above C, and then C, and then we got a 3rd. And we got a minor 3rd, and then another minor 3rd, and boom. Right? So that is not those, and then these notes, as you get up here, like look at how they're like farther away from the lines. Like a lot of these are sharp or flat. Like these are not on the lines anymore as you get. So you can play notes, like especially because this is that's 1, right? And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is very off of its semitone. 12, 13 is off. 14 is off. 15 is off. 16 is 4 octaves up. And this is one of the best dubstep patches. So you go to 16, and you can do this on any subtractive synth, right? It doesn't have to be that particular one because it's just an octave. But I'm going to go put this LFO now to the volume instead of the, I'm going to put it to the volume instead of to anything else. And I'm going to make this into a saw down. Right? And then now you're actually going to turn this down so I don't fucking just decimate your ear holes. Ah, that patch. We've all heard that one. Right? All that is 2 sine waves, 4 octaves apart, going into a clipper. And then volume modulation. Volume becomes. Right? That can also sound cool if you have like reverb throws with it and stuff. A lot of people will put reverb throws. Right? So that's one thing that you can do with harmonic series patches and harmonic series in a clipper. But another thing that you can do that's really fun is you pick a bunch of intervals and you get like a weird chord that doesn't use normal piano notes. So like 13 was a weird one. And you see how it's stable in the clipper. It's not bouncing up and down like it normally would when you play a chord into a clipper. Right? So let's go put this. Hello, that's starting to get froggy. Right? So you can make a frog noise like. Let's try maybe a sine. Right, triangle. But probably. Right. Let's find another weird chord. Right, but we're not going to do the LFO to the volume. I just wanted to show you that that's how that works because it's a thing to know when you're clipping things. We're going to do to all four of these, and we're going to do a vibrato. And put that on low, and we're going to... Oh, and then not on the volume, I thought. Oh yeah, it's gonna be on a sine to do vibrato. Might take that. And then you make like a long kind of tone of one of these guys. That is boom, chicka, yeah. So boom, chicka, and it comes in on the snare. And then a legato. Click little headphones. Okay, and then make that join. And then we put the legato's down here now. Okay, and then once we got that, we can go to, oh yeah, the transpose, that's right. The transpose in operator steps, not like the cool transpose in sampler. So we're gonna have to use the pitch bend like Neanderthals. All right, so I'm gonna just draw a little pitch bend automation in there. No, not the range. I want a MIDI pitch bend. Yeah, and then you do like a pickup, like. Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna right click on the volume and go show modulation and just pop a little mute in the beginning. Right, and then, oh here, I'll put this, some mutes at the end. And then you can play with these chords and play with the distortion types. Sometimes like sinoid some fold will sound cool. And then sometimes I'll also I'll distort it and then put a high pass so you get the distortions effect on the hot tops, but not of. If you want to have like a clean sub too. But let's put this on digital clip maybe and then blast it. Actually it's not sounding good on digital clip, let's do back to analog. an octave up. Yeah, oh, I don't like the curve on the pitch bend. Sorry, I just want to do the sound properly for you. And you know what I think I'm going to do is a scratch on that instead of, because the pitch bend is not quite giving me what I want. I want like a record stop sort of a sound. Boop. Okay, and then if you do get like a fucking nar bank space in here. Oh, actually, I think we already have a nar bank space. Yeah, you get like. Right, and then you can make like different chords, you know, like if you put this into a thingy-mabob and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, comme ça. Open up the snapshots, make a new snapshot, and then this will be basic chord, and then we can make other chords. Okay, snapshot, make another one. Great. Save that, make another one. Oh, come on, fuck off. Oh yeah, you can't duplicate them. It's not a chain, doy. Okay, great. Save that, etc. Can make a bunch of these. Maybe I'll, oh yeah, maybe we'll put the LFO to here. And this one will be no LFO. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, you find these fucking sweet spots that you don't find with like a normal chord, right? Because it's like the harmonic series. It's not like a normal chord. So then, yeah, you. And then it's really the sound of it hitting the clipper. And because they're all perfect mathematical integer multiples, because it's the harmonic series and not semitones, the stability of the sound through the clipper, there's something that you're just like, oh yeah. And even though it's not in tune to the piano, you can hear that it's more in tune than the piano is. So yeah, it's a cool sound. But yeah, so if you just take an operator, put it in parallel, 4 voices, all different fucking courses, and then put their balance the volumes against each other, usually with the bottom one loudest, and then into a clipper. I think if you had some moments where you have some stuff like that, and then just like more like slippery noises, you know, like and slippery, wet, kind of sloppy noises. Yeah, like. Yeah, like. Let's see this. Yeah, it's like. Or like this iPad slippery noise. These aren't that slippery. But yeah, if you just get like a lot of wet stuff or like hydrophone samples or like kind of like slappy glop noises, But yeah, this thing, because this is 100% dry. That's just sine waves into a clipper, you know? Yeah, but yeah, so know about that one. That's one to know about. All right. Oh fuck, man. I think we gotta cap it at 10 next time. 15. I was a little ambitious. All right. Okay, cool. Voltage. I like your name. That's a fun name. It sounds pretty cool already too. This is cool. Yeah. Oh, fuck me up. Oh, yeah. Whoa. That note, that high note on the strings was just a little out seeming. Because this has got so much going on. This sound is fucking awesome. Those little gaps are a bit weird. They're kind of like, they don't feel as intentional as they could. This is so awesome. I love this. Wow. That was really cool, Mr. Voltage. That was fucking awesome. I really like that. So I do have some suggestions, but gain staging is definitely one of them. And rumble is another, like your, low end. I don't know if you have a sub to monitor on, but the low end is like, a lot of it is kind of like unintentional pieces of other sounds that if you have a more prominent bass, you may be able to dominate those sounds in that range and not need to high pass them. But some of the sounds are going to need high pass. Like I'm not normally a big high pass guy because EQ fucking ruins your transients and it ruins the vertical wave edges that you need to make square waves and saw waves and things. But the there are some of the sounds that seem like unintentionally prominent in the sub range that are not like themselves sub bass sounds. And then also, like, as much as I love the texture of those brush sounds that you got, I would say that you should probably bring the highs on those down, or else bring the highs and especially the transients on the melodies to kind of be more prominent in the sections where those brush sounds are going, because the brush sounds are just much more apparently loud than the other sounds. They may not be so on the meters, but because of the frequencies that they occupy and because of the extreme width, they seem much louder than the other sounds. When I gain stage, oh man. Okay. So once again, Panic Studio, here you go. I will copy this link. So this is the advice Pro Studios hate. That is the truth about gain staging. Then also check out Baphometrics, also from the dojo, did a really awesome video series that she's super famous for called Clip to Zero, that you should definitely check out. But I think I have a gain staging video that's public in. Yeah, I think it's this 80-20 music. Yeah, gain staging and hard clipping. Bam. So gain staging or leveling. There you go. Yeah, this gain staging video, it's pretty good. And then check the 80-20 of mixing one, because that one is fucking huge. Yes. Yeah, so the 80-20 of mixing goes through it, and there's some examples and stuff in there. Okay. Copy and paste. Yeah, K-Clip, but I mean, I just use the Ableton one these days. Like, I don't even fucking bother with K-Clip or G-Clip or any of that. I just use the Ableton Saturator. Once I learned it was the same as the Ableton Master Bus. Like, I'll use standard clip sometimes if I want something that goes up to 256. But yeah, and then just like get a bunch of references into your mix, and so that you can so that they're muted, and then they go out the master outputs or the main outputs without any processing. So you route them directly to the mains, and then you can mix by just redlining the master on your DAW and compare all of your levels, all of your frequencies directly to a mastered reference, and you can hit that mastered reference level and presence and everything with just clipping, and not need to do compression or fucking lots of EQ or whatever. Just get super hardcore about your gain staging, and just remember those 5 dimensions. You've got the extreme highs, extreme lows, extreme sides, the habituation transient dimension, constant things. You get habituated, you don't notice them. Sudden changes or transients, you notice. And then the pain zone. And the human ear wants the pain zone. That's why it's like reaching out from the bottom of the Fletcher-Munson curve. I want you, pain zone. I'm listening so much to you, right? Because a lot of people think like, oh, don't put sounds in the pain zone. It'll hurt. But it can hurt, but it's also like your ears want that. That's where all the definition and detail lives, especially in things like vocals or whatever. So I would check that out. Some of those moments where you have those little silences where everything stops. Yeah, I don't recommend people use much compressors. Just use different transfer curves and saturator and stuff. I'm not that big on compressors unless you're like Like a LA2A or 1176 I'll use because they impart nice color. But a lot of the time I'm not trying to compress things too much usually. Especially not multiband. Multiband anything fucks things up a lot. You know, you gotta, like, once you can hear it, you're like, ugh. But yeah, so anyway, so those silent moments, you may want to try putting a little tiny piece of like a record scratch on it, like just a little, like just tiny bit on the edge of some of those moments to make it feel like mechanical when it stops. I think that will make those moments feel a little bit more intentional. Right now, it just feels like one of your loops is too short by accident, you know, whereas if you have like a little like glitch or something, it'll make it feel more intentional because it's like, you know, it's a glitchy sort of an aesthetic. So you could lean in but as it stands, it kind of currently doesn't feel as intentional as it could. And then there's lots of really cool shit going on with all these kind of like phasing and like Steve Reichy kind of action, which I love. But there's this spot like towards the end where everything is like super glitchy with these leads, and this new arpeggiator comes in, and you have this like high string note that I don't think you need it. Like, not here. Where was it? I think maybe in here. Yeah, there. Yeah, I don't think you really need that note. And like even the sub note, you may want to experiment with some different notes because I feel like that sub note is not quite sitting right with the arpeggiator melody that you have. I think if you experimented with perhaps a different note of whatever chord you're using, but like still low, that would help. And then even classical orchestras will have a lot of the time someone playing like a Moglo Fatty off stage, you know, so you can't see this. So like looks at everybody's like playing fucking basses and stuff, and there'll be like seriously like some motherfucker like down in the pit or like just like trying not to draw attention to himself that's like doing subs that are like fucking like 40 hertz, 30 hertz, you know? It's hard to get those frequencies with acoustic instruments. And because anything is a sine wave, when you low pass it, like you don't really notice that it's a synth down there, you know? And I think like, especially in the intro and stuff, like if you just look at the meters, you can see there's like nothing down there, and this shit will sound so big. It will be so big. Yeah, like in here. Yeah, like the lowest you're going is like 55 or something. I normally try and stay out of this 100 to 200 range, especially with bass notes. I'll like transpose them an octave down. Once I get to about 90, I'm going an octave down, you know, so you can get that just that bottom, that fucking low, you know? So I'd say get the low in there somehow. And your life will be way better. All right, Illy Pill, you're up. But yeah, that was fucking great. Really cool. Fuck, this is sick. I would recommend doing the amp trick on your vocal, like put the Ableton amp effect 5% wet, clean mode, mono, because your vocal needs that mono presence in the high highs. It's getting fucking dominated. Yeah, you've got all this room for highs that you're not using, and that's cool. And if you pick out like just the main sounds and you give them some like mono only saturation to fill out the highs, you're fucking stoked. It'll sound really, really good. Actually, you know what? There might be a way I can do it. I forgot about this. Yeah, actually, this is like the ultimate noise hack, or neighbor noise complaint hack. Because like I'm coming in this virtual input, right? If I ever need to not, like if I'm pissing off my neighbors and it's late and I want to have the sub on, if I go to my EQs, because I did this with them on the phone, I called them up and I was like, I'm gonna play a bunch of sine waves at different frequencies. Let me know which one is fucking your shit up. And they did. And I went and like, I know that if I go, oh, okay, so at 42 hertz, right? If I go like 42 hertz, the Douglas Adams frequency, oh no, wait, I think it's one of these, it's a notch. It's a notch. Yeah, here we go. Move that down to 42. And I think you can go boop like that and then whoosh, make a little notch at 42. That if I make a notch like centered at 42, super, super thin, that makes it so that the subs are not an issue for my neighbors, right? But yeah, so where are we? So now I'm gonna see if I can do. I think I can do. Let's delete that or remove. I think I can do mid-side saturation with there's this one. Brainworks one. Maybe if I just scroll down to BX. I think it's BX Digital. I'm pretty sure BX Digital V3, I think. Yeah, we got mono, we got stereo. Do we have saturation? No, this one's just EQ. Okay, so let's do maybe BX Digital. This one? There's one of them that has like a mid-side saturation. No, not that one. Yeah, because you'll see when I do the mid-side saturation on this, you'll be like, oh, fuck. What can I do mid-side side? I could have sworn one of these Brainworks ones had that. Go to all. Maybe it's the saturator. I think the Brainworks saturator. Yes, here we are. Mid-side. Okay. So watch this. I'm going to put drive just on the mids. Oh, wait. It's Ableton. Go over to the track. Open it up a bit more. Into mono under about there. Yeah, I want it about there. I don't like the way the thing solos, but now listen. It's not quite doing it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's kind of, something's going on. It's kind of bunching it. Yeah, it's kind of like, it's changing the gain staging a little bit. Maybe it's like. Oh, there we go. I think there's this XL thing. Oh. Yeah, there we go. See, I just got the highs back up. I need to do this. But you see how it like brings up the intimacy and like the highs, like it makes everything kind of make a bit more sense mix wise. Because when you have all this like crazy stereo stuff going on, especially when things are like everything is muffled and everything is stereo and there's like all this stereo stuff going on, you need that like centered high presence for it to really feel like, oh, this has dimension and feels good. All right, Life is a Gala, one of my favorite humans. Favorites in the whole wide world. But let's go. Wow, this is nice. Wow. Wow, this is beautiful. You're having this the same problem as Voltage was, where the brushy things are dominating the transients on the mid leads, but only a little. This version of those drums sounds a lot better than this version. This version has like I think it's like there's maybe some other layer in it, and they're kind of like I can hear like some compression artifacts, and like I can hear like there's this other layer that they're kind of like, just the way those same drums appear here is much nicer and more dimensional than here. Let's compare them. Right, compare those same drums to here. Yeah. Like I can hear that other synth layer is still there, but it's like it's just not as intrusive as the first time. Oh, yeah, the way those leads come in, awesome. Because like the one of your main problems in this song is like all your ninja sounds, like your white noises and like other things that are just there to give it that like rising and falling energy. They're drawing a little too much attention to themselves, level wise, and then just like they're really bright, they're really wide, they're loud, and it's making the leads kind of feel small in comparison. But then when this lead comes in, then their levels make sense. But without this lead, their levels should probably come down. So let's listen to that again. Yeah! Yeah, so your drums here are pretty bright. And like the kind of brightness of that is taking away from the melodies. Like I would do the thing where you like low pass everything at like 10K except for your main leads. And then the way that comes in is weird, but once it's in, it's awesome sounding, you know? But I would say like the vocal sound, the new sound should be perhaps in front of cause like this lead here, right? It's got all that stereo motion and all that brightness, and then it's pushing it to the front of your mind. You know, it's like really noticeable. And then here where it comes in and the two of them are trying to both have that spot, only really one of them can occupy that. Like I'm panning around and really bright and gated and all up in your shit. Only one of them can really occupy that spot. So if you're going to have both of them at once, you should perhaps consider less panning automation on whichever one you split to the background, less highs on whichever one you put to the background, etc. Just remember, like, you know, 3 extremes, highs, lows, sides, and then change or stability, you know, so habituation or transience, things not changing or new stuff happening all the time, that dynamic. And then there's the pain zone, right? So yeah, really just making sure that you're gonna use those 5 dimensions to create front and back. Excellent. Oh, that's gotta be off. Kill that. Damn it, I listened to your whole song with that mid-side distortion on. Yeah, it's feeling a lot better with those brush noises. Great use of the transient here to sustain your attention. Yeah, this is just awesome. Yeah, I would say do the sub only OTT trick, and then also probably try and have the like put some of your basses down an octave, because there's some basses like when you hit 80, like fucking go to 40, fuck 80. You don't need 80 or 90. Like go to 45 instead of 90. Yeah, this is really great. This is really great. Yeah, I hear like get those lows back in that section. Like put a super quiet sub at like about 40, you know? Like, and because it's okay to have 2 octaves of subs. It's fine as long as they're in tune. You know, they're not going to conflict. But yeah, really, really nice. Really nice work. Okay, we got Hot Fluffy Star. What a name. I love it. All right, Hot Fluffy Star, you're up. I'm following you just because of your name. Oh, I'm the first one. Awesome. I like this already. So hot, so fluffy, so hot, so fluffy, so hot, so fluffy. You're a star. Ooh. Well, the highs are kind of making me flinch in spots. Like they're very, very bright, but this is super likable. I really dig this. But you see what I was saying? How that frequency range really makes the vocals sit in front, people. Hot Fluffy Star, living proof. Like, whoo! Well, it's like almost too much, but it certainly makes that vocal sit in front. Watch this frequency range here. You want usually a kind of a dip here. You want it like really loud, like 30 to 60, you know, that's like your sweet zone. And then, because like the crossover on a subwoofer is like that, it's like not a straight line. And the crossover on your mid driver is like, like that. It's not a straight line. This range from like 90 to 200 is basically going to both your mid driver and your sub driver on a PA. And so when you have shit in here, it gets all muddy and rumbly and fucking not great. So like your highs and everything are really nice and like really intense. You could probably dial them back a little bit. The highs on the vocal, the way you got the vocal sitting in front is awesome, but it's making me flinch. But this range, you want this to be fucking loud, you know? So it's like loud here, then down, and then up, and then slowly down. And the only thing that I can think of is that's that shape is a butt plug. So just imagine a butt plug with the bottom there, and then it dips down, and then up here, and this is like where your butt goes in the 100 to 200 range. That's like your butthole. Imagine your butthole pinching that EQ range shut. You'll never forget that advice. This is awesome. Yeah. Your like risery sounds and the ninja sounds and shit are really loud here, and like so is the noise. Like the compression is just pushing that noise floor up a lot, and it's kind of getting in the way a little bit. It's making things feel flat because they are very loud, but here is good. Yeah! This is awesome. Notice the song length, 420. 420 is the only correct song length. Bad decisions. Those chords that come in, those little like blah, blah, they're kind of out of key. I mean, you know, if there's no bad notes, there's only bad playing, but I don't know, they could maybe be kind of smoothed out a little bit. Like some of the notes feel a little out of key. Dude, that Bad Decisions vocal though, come on. I love it. My advice is best summed up.
Touch the mid-range, drop the bass. Touch the mid-range, drop the bass. Above the volume, rock the house.
Where's the bass? Yeah, anyway, it's pretty funny. But yeah, cut the mid-range, drop the bass. That was awesome. I really like that. That's very likable. You got a good thing going on. I could see a lot of people being real fucking into that shit. But yeah, just cut the mid-range, drop the bass, baby. This is cool. I like these melody parts a lot. The panning is a little weird. The off-center panning on your kind of main sound it's just it's a little off-putting, you know. I think if you made it like still wide but centered, it would probably feel a little bit more natural. Although from your album art, it's clear that you want us to be a little bit uncomfortable, don't you? Oh, dude, come on. 12 years ago? 12 years ago? What are you going to do to this track 12 years later? If you don't tell me that you're like here in the chat, I'm not going to give you feedback on no 12-year-old track. Come on. If you're here and you're actually here, you're watching, I like, yeah, you got to be like, I'm remixing this motherfucker. All right. So I do have some announcements to make actually before we do the last one. Okay. So Jay Scott, are you erratics? But yeah, I do have some announcements to make. One of them is that I spent 4 goddamn ever making the sickest sample pack ever. And it's going to be part of the producer's path. I'll show you a little bit of it. This video, I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play like 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute of this video. This video is 45 minutes long. That's how long this sample pack is. And it's like everything you need to make music. Check it out.
out of favor and was stored in a cool, dark place, electronic music. She worked with Buchla in the late 60s and 70s when she was a grad student at Cal.
There's no accident that he developed his unique ideas in this crucible of upset and chaos.
In the 60s, Berkeley was the epicenter of political and social unrest.
We were all hippies and there were drugs.
In 1966,
And there were a lot of legends.
but few facts.
He finished the project wearing gloves.
Probably a good idea.
But yeah, so you get the picture. This is like a fucking hour of those samples. It's an hour of those samples, like so many samples. Yeah, they're all part of the producer's path course. And this is what the people who took 1.0 have to say.
I started from zero. I knew absolutely nothing about making music.
Man, the program is amazing.
Really beneficial for my whole workflow.
The experience has been great.
The highs were like everything. Dude, the way you laid it out teaching is prime.
It has been amazing.
Very enlightening.
Like phenomenally.
It gave me the answer that I was looking for.
Another huge breakthrough.
A huge difference.
And it is just so nice having someone be like, okay, here's what you do first. Like, this is what you want to learn first.
The habit tracking just really changed my whole mindset on life.
That's when I was like, okay, I can make music.
Making music felt more real at that point.
Honestly, it is so comprehensive.
Huge breakthrough.
Game changers.
Whatever I want now, I can put it into a song.
Like, just blows my mind.
And I can feel it in my music, the textures, the sounds. It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it nowadays.
I'm like, fucking give me more, man. Give me more.
It's pretty exciting. It makes me feel like I'm actually doing some art.
Because regardless of age, I think what we ultimately want to have is our music to sound good.
And I guess we all kind of like need a little bit of validation. Just a little bit.
Being able to translate into my speakers right now in my car and it'll sound good.
Other people have been saying it sounds good, so that's really cool.
Everybody's like, oh, that's pretty cool. To understand, hey, motherfucker, I'm doing this shit right.
I felt like the producer's path helped me succeed in my goal with what I wanted to do.
Showed a couple of my friends. I was like, look, hey, check the platform. It's pretty dope, you know.
And I want to have a product that I could show my children's children who I was. Never found the answer until I went to the producer's path.
If you're ready to move beyond just making music and you want to learn how to become a better producer, that's when you take the producer path.
Slays. You'll love it. All right. So now that I know a little bit about the background of why I'm listening to this track from 12 years ago, I am going to give you feedback on it because you do seem sincere. So, what I would say about like I like that you have this weird aesthetic and that you have like a style going, even if you're like, you know, you haven't made music in 12 years. This music has a style, you know, it has a style and an aesthetic, and it's clear kind of like what you're going for, you know? So that I think is the most important thing that you can have in music. And really a lot of the kind of problems, quote unquote, a lot of the things that are bad are like actually what makes music interesting, right? And music history is a history of people using things wrong and using them wrong so well that wrong becomes right. And what is unacceptable becomes cool and edgy, and then it becomes normal, and then it becomes boring, and then it becomes passé. And some other new unacceptable thing becomes edgy and cool, and then it becomes normal, and then it becomes boring, and then it becomes passé. And like when you listen to records from from like the jazz era and stuff, it sounds like the most like square ass music to a modern ear a lot of the time, you know, like music from the 30s and stuff. You're like, oh my God, you're adorable, you people from the 30s, you know, like it just doesn't sound like, or even like NWA, like you listen to NWA now and it's like cute, you know, like you're like, oh, that's that guy who plays a cop on TV. Oh, he hates cops in this rap group, you know, it's like adorable. Right. But yeah, it's like, you know, being able to go for what is like out there and weird, and like being able to be like, yeah, I could sound like everyone else, but I'm gonna like legitimately do some outside the box shit and not like be the kind of person who's copying everybody and being like, I'm super original, like you sound like everybody else in your genre, you know? So that kind of like renders a lot of the aesthetic stuff a lot more forgiving, you know? And there are certain genres that like, or a lot of the technical stuff more forgiving, like when you have a kind of weird, intentionally off-putting kind of aesthetic. And, you know, like Vaporwave is built on that, and like Witch House is built on that. A lot of like IDM music is built on that, and that can be very cool. So I would say, like, you know, when you're thinking about how to make music, it feels to me like the way you've used synths and stuff in this composition, which once again, to remind our viewers, sounds like this. Like the way that I really like, I really liked a lot of the compositional stuff that you have going on, like especially the way the notes are all kind of like clumpy. They're not really like that steady. And there's like a kind of like, this kind of like strung out sort of feeling, like emotionally, that is like, it's like pretty, but you kind of want to cry a little, you know? Like that's like off-putting to some people, but I dig a lot of music that sounds like that. So, but I can hear from the way that you're using the synths and, you know, some of the kind of like moves that you're choosing here, that it's like you're not really that intimately familiar with the way synths work, and the way kind of like, the way, like just how it works composing with synths, right? Like a lot of the moves feel kind of tentative, and then the sounds like they're just like in or out kind of thing, you know? And if you were to shift your focus somewhat to collecting and collaging particularly interesting and personal sounds, I think that it will make a lot of the kind of technical stuff a little bit less, like it'll make it feel more intentional. Because like there's a kind of like, there's a beauty to when people approach music making with like an innocence of some of the cultural conventions of that are established among people who are like super hardcore about things. And like there can be a kind of nice aesthetic to that, and there are ways that that can really work. And it's important, I think, when you're starting out, to choose genres like, you know, lo-fi or house or drone music or like ambient or you know, minimal techno, or you know, things that are like fairly forgiving as a genre technically, you know, or like indie rock or kind of like punk, you know, all those genres. Like you can make great music in those genres, or even rap. Like a lot of really fucking badly, like, you know, quote unquote badly produced rap is awesome. Like I love a lot of like music that just doesn't sound all perfect, you know. And I think if you're like, you know, you really like focus on the 5 dimensions that we've been talking about the whole time, but on like populating those with like interesting textures. Like getting like I don't know if you ever listen to the Books. They're kind of like a folk band, and they use a lot of found sounds, and they would like go around America and wherever they were on tour, and go to like the library and get like weird community film reel shit, like just like local archive footage from like all around, and chop it up and do like video, and then play cello and like just really beautiful sampler melodies. And the Books were a really cool band, and they had this kind of cool IDM aesthetic going with found sounds and with textures and crackles and things that I feel was like, it's kind of like once you hear it, you're like, oh, this really works, and I could probably make music like this, but you're like, but I fucking didn't. It's like seeing like a really good like modern abstract art piece where you're like, fuck, this person's so rich for this, but like anyone could have done it, and then you're like, God damn it. Right? It's great. Like I love music aesthetics like that, and I love art like that too. It really I think it has a profound message for all of us, so I would say like dig into finding samples, like archive samples, especially stuff that's copyright free, and then dig into like making the synthesizer sounds that you use sound processed in ways that aren't like EQ and like panning LFO and like the basic kind of obvious Ableton stuff. Like if you got, for example, a cassette player from like anywhere, they're free, like anyone can get a cassette player anywhere, like just go to a garage sale or fucking anywhere. Like they're just like I saw a cassette player for free on my street the other day, but go get a cassette player and like dub some of those synths that you made into a cassette player. And I think like this whole song, for example, like the mix, there's the parts of the mix that are not working. A lot of it is because it's so high fidelity that it's like, like when you watch a movie in HD and they haven't done the post for HD, and like you can see just like a little too much detail in everyone's skin. It's like kind of uncomfortable, that goes away when you put shit in a cassette deck or, run it out and back through like a kind of funky, like bad, quote unquote, chain. So I would recommend like going out and getting a cassette deck and just involving cassette tapes in this aesthetic of yours, and check out the Books. And the Books, like, I think they're a really good reference for the style that you have. And when you, do the normal stuff that I recommend in the 80-20 of mixing, like references, try not to use too much EQ, let things sound natural, use clippers to take off micro peaks, pin your groups, all the shit that I recommend in there. If you do that with like just like sounds that have like a richness of texture to them, I think that you're going to be able to still like you could take this track now, not even have the stems, run it through a cassette deck once normally, and then run it through again and like fuck the cassette deck up when it's running and like start and stop it and make all these like mechanical ass noises and just chop those mechanical cassette deck noises into that track, and this would be awesome. It's just that right now, because it's got that like feeling like it's like over like a movie that you're watching a movie in HD and the post hasn't been done for HD. It has that feeling, right? And that it's kind of making it a bit more uncomfortable, but you could probably get rid of that. Like, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put a fucking tape sim on this. Let's see, tape measure. Yeah, if I can blow this up. is it? Yeah, okay, it's still going. We got lots left. Yeah, see the way it starts breaking up? And then for a lot of genres, like, oh yeah, here, I'll put it so you can see the screen. For a lot of genres, like putting reverb on the master would be a terrible fucking idea. But reverb on the master for shit like this can sound really good. So let's do some of that. Oh shit. Where is it? There's this one like super instant mastering thing. Yeah, I think it's this one. Oh, I used all my goo. Let's see where else. Let's see, I guess I could use. Yeah, here we go. Back this up. He's linked. Like, it's still a little rumbly and shit, but it sounds a lot more intentional, you know, just with that like bit of cassette grit. It just kind of like brings everything together, collapses the stereo image a bit, brings the highs down a bit, brings the lows down a bit, makes the transients a bit softer, you know, and then you put reverb on that to make it sound big again and compress it. And like I've heard records that are like mixed like that, you know. Right? See here, I'll level it down so it's like yours. Yeah, there we go. Now it's the same level. Right, so you go 1, 2, 3. Right. So much of it is that tape. But yeah, as good as that sounds, it'll sound 1,000 times better with a real cassette deck, and you can get one for free, right? So I'd say explore that world, explore like digging for cassette tapes, explore going around, like going to archive.org, getting weird shit off the internet. Because like stuff like you can get something that's like a shitty YouTube video and like put it through a cassette and it'll sound great because it's been run through a cassette. It sounds like shitty in an aesthetic way that's nice, you know. But yeah, bad is good. All right, last but not least, we got Dookie shoes. This guy could use a bit of saturation too, to be honest. You can make it a little brighter. Yeah, there you go. I'll take it so it's level. Oh, I gotta go up a little bit. Oh. You see the way that little bit of saturation like brings out the highs and like just makes it feel more like finished? But it's better to do that saturation in the mix. But especially your drum sounds, like your super naked MIDI drum sounds, definitely need a bit of saturation. And then, yeah, the master for sure needs to come up. And then, I don't know, I kind of want a couple more weird things to happen. Like maybe some one-shot sounds that only happen once. and then maybe like raising and lowering the kind of compositional density. So you have some spots where it's like just one sound or like one or two sounds, like at the beginning. If you had it like more, because the sub is just so constant that it makes the whole thing sound super constant, So if there's like some little, some spots where the sub melody was maybe a little weirder, or some spots where the sub melody was gone, that would kind of help. And then some saturation definitely would really help. And then, probably a limiter on the master or something, like, so get those levels up, because it's not, so you like push it into clipping, so that it flattens off at the top. So here, I'll do that for you. I'm just going to do it in one shot with the Brainworks Master Desk. Okay. Oh, you can hear the hiss from this guy now. Yeah, that's definitely helping. But like, see, it's like missing the whole top of the song. But yeah, pretty cool overall though. Pretty cool overall. And another really good thing. Actually here, you know what? I'll just sample it into Ableton really quick. Another really good way to add some artifacts and stuff is if you go, there we go, 1, 2 resampling. Okay, I'm gonna have to mute my mic. Thank you. Sorry, I smoked some weed. Okay, so you can get echo. Echo is tape saturation here if you gain it up at the beginning, the input. And then you can also go into, you put the left right up a little bit, then you go into modulation, and this will warble the left and right slowly. So it creates what's known as wow. Wow. That's my Owen Wilson. But yeah, wow is slow modulation to the pitch. Right? You get this like, right? But yeah, so you want that slow. And then that's one of the things that tape does. And the other thing it does is it like flickers around really fast. And that's what's known as flutter. So you put that with the wobble. Wobble gives you flutter. I'll crank it. See, when that's at 100, it's like too much. But you want it just at like fucking like 10. Same thing with this. Like that sounds fucking weird. And when we put the phase, it like knocks left and right out of phase with each other. If you have that like 2%, you get this crazy stereo image. Making it more random and adding envelope modulation. Right? Really makes it sound bugged out, but like subtle, you know, like. See, it's got all the highs it needs. It's got all the dimension it needs. It's got all the tape saturation and wobble and artifacting. Just Ableton's echo. Basic bitch echo. Basic bitch echo. Oh, okay. You could do it with any delay that has those features. Like a lot of times the people like, because that's based on the RE201 space echo from Roland. Largely, but it's got some other tricks up its sleeve. But yeah, there's other delays that can do that. Okay, so that's everybody. Lots of love. I think I'm gonna have to keep it to 12 next time because that was 3 hours. Wow. But I did everybody, and you all got good feedback because I care. All right, lots of love, and yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. And don't forget the producerspath.com to sign up for the real-time course we're doing. 90 days. We're doing it together. It's my best course I've ever made, and we're making it better by doing it as a group. I'm super fucking pumped. What could be better than that? The best ever ill.Gates course done as a group with habit tracking and Discord and all new cleaned up fucking one-shot videos. Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun. And yeah. And then you get that crazy sample library that I made. I'll let it play you out, I suppose. But yeah, theproducerspath.com. If you go there today, you can get the Producers Path 1.0 for free. If you go there before May 1st, you get $100 off. And then after May 1st, full price. But it will come with a sample library and my first book. I'm so pumped. All right. Lots of love. Please enjoy the sample library.